It's the hardest decision of them all.
One of the best racehorses we've ever seen.
Such a magnificent horse. Dancing Brave to me was just that horse that caught my imagination.
One vote for Dancing Brave, one vote for See the Stars.
On that day, Coral-Eclipse day, we're going for...
Welcome back to the Coral-Eclipse Ultimate Rankings. We are choosing the best of the best from the past 5 decades, and alongside me we have Simon Crisford and Johnny Murtagh to help us decide the winner down to the final 2. This is where everything gets a little bit more serious because we're talking about 2 of the greatest horses of all time as we choose the Coral-Eclipse Ultimate winner. And I'm about to say some words that I would have only thought of in my dreams. See the Stars versus Dancing Brave for the title of the Ultimate Coral-Eclipse winner. I think it's worth us having a look at those races again. So chronologically, let's go back to 1986 and Dancing Brave's win after his notorious second, his infamous second in the Derby, having won the 2,000 guineas. Here he is in the pink cap under Greville Starkey. Now, we talked about the quality of the race. We know the triptychs in there, bold arrangement, teleprompter, really good horses. Johnny, what stands out for you about this performance?
It's just he got out there at the 3 furlong marker, and Triptych is quickened really well down the outside. And you know in Sandown, it's hard to peg him back when they do. But Greville didn't panic. I think he gave him one backhander here just to get him organised. Or did he even give him a backhander? I think it was just hands and heels.
Just a gentle breeze.
And then, look at the way he quickened. Look at the acceleration. Again, in Sandown, up the hill, no horse can do it, we said. But he could do it on this day. A brilliant winner. A brilliant race, a brilliant winner. And, oh, what a horse. Look at the stride of him.
Simon, a horse that transcended the sport of racing for a little period of that 1986 because he was such a magnificent racehorse. From a news point of view, from racing's PR point of view, he did quite a lot in 1986 for the sport.
Huge. I mean, he was just the ultimate racehorse. And what separates champions from very, very top-class horses is the turn of foot. And he had proper acceleration. And that's what separates supreme champions from other champions. And he had that. He had the most magnificent turn of foot. We saw it in all of his races, whether as a 2-year-old, in the Guineas, certainly here in the Coral-Eclipse, and in the Derby, where obviously he was set too difficult a task. He came from too far back and should have won the race. But for me, Dancing Brave, if you go to sleep at night and close your eyes and think of what should a champion racehorse look like, it is Dancing Brave. And, you know, he really did a huge amount for the sport.
And for those of us of a certain age, just the mention of those 2 words together, Dancing Brave, puts the hairs on the back of your neck, it puts them up, it gets the blood pumping because you just remember the feelings that he gave you in that summer of 86 all the way through. Even the disappointment of the Breeders' Cup at the end of the year. How could this great champion get beat in the heat of California, etc.? But he was a horse that will live long in the memory, which is exactly what we can say about the horse that he's vying with for the title of the Ultimate Coral-Eclipse winner, and that is See the Stars, who put together the most magnificent season in 2009. But I thought the performance here, Simon, I'll start with you, in winning the Coral-Eclipse in 2009, it was atypical of See the Stars. Everything comes relatively easy to him, but what we always found with him in that 2009 season is when the chips were really down, Mick Cannan could call on something that very few other horses possess. There's more in the tank.
No, you're absolutely right, Rishi. He was, again, one of the best racehorses we've ever seen. And he had the will to win that couldn't be matched by any other racehorse. And he obviously had a jockey who understood this horse inside out. Masterful trainer with John Ox. But what I would say is he was almost workmanlike, if that's not too rude a word to use for a supreme champion, which he clearly was. But he made it look difficult. He made it look hard. And it obviously wasn't as hard as he made it look because he kept on winning at the very, very highest level. Whereas obviously Dancing Brave had that turn of foot. He had that electric change of pace.
Yeah.
See the Stars makes it look tough, but he kept on winning, and he beat the best of his generation and older horses. So I think he's a world-class champion. I really do.
Johnny, you, Aidan O'Brien and the Ballydoyle team tried every single horse that was in training at Ballydoyle and every tactic to try and lower his colours.
We did, and he just kept turning up. You know, he just kept turning up. Today, on this day, I think Mick went a little bit sooner than ideal because the pace stopped in front of him. He went to the front, and it looked like Rip Van Winkle was coming to beat him that day. I honestly thought Rip Van Winkle would get him this day, but you can see the last half a furlong, he just kept pulling it. He changed his legs there, and away he went again. And you know, he put it to bed, and like he won 6 Group 1s. Like name them out: Guineas,
Derby,
Eclipse,
Coral-Eclipse, the Irish champions,
the Juddmonte,
Juddmonte, the Irish champion stakes,
and then he rocks up the last day of the season. So 6 Group 1s. So, and I suppose, as Simon says, just that workman-like. There was always a little bit left in the locker, and you always felt, as you said, when the chips were down, he was going to find another bit.
Yeah.
And that's what the great horses do. They overcome when everything is not in their favour. But hey, again, brilliant racehorse.
John Ox tells the great story of when he came back in after winning the Derby, and Mick Cannan jumped off him, and Mick Cannan pulled John Ox over to him, and he said, "Listen, this is one of the greats." Just whispered in his ear. And when John Ox told that story, when I had a chance to talk about him, you could see the tears coming down his eye. The horse meant so much to those two.
And that's Mick Cannan telling you. You know the horses he's ridden in his career.
Yeah.
Like it's not like he's never ridden one. He's ridden probably the world champions.
Well, he rode Pilsudski.
Yeah, exactly. There you go, Richard. There you go. But can I just say...
He rode so many good ones. For him to say that...
Yeah, unbelievable. But if you look at that race and just see the distance that he put between himself and the second and the third and the fourth and how they were strung out, that is always a good guide as to how much quality the horse has got at the end of a very tough race.
How are we going to decide who is number one? What are you thinking? Who would like to go first with their view? Simon?
Yep, happy to do that. For me, if I was a jockey, I would choose to ride Dancing Brave to beat See the Stars because the turn of foot is electric. And I think you'd catch See the Stars by surprise. Wow. You'd come up that hill, See the Stars would hit the front. He'd still be in front with 100 yards to go. And I think Dancing Brave would mow him down in the last 100 yards because of that electric turn of foot. And that's why I vote for Dancing Brave to be number one.
Okay. But are we saying, well, I get what you're saying about Dancing Brave's turn of foot and his acceleration being such a potent weapon against anything on this table. Was his renewal, was that 1986 Coral-Eclipse, that performance in that race better than See the Stars' win in 2009 in that Coral-Eclipse?
Yes.
So you say Dancing Brave. Johnny?
I tried to beat See the Stars with Rip Van Winkle, Master Craftsman, the horse that won the Irish Derby.
Fame and Glory.
Fame and Glory. Like, they were champions.
Yeah.
We just couldn't beat them. If there was one horse I would like to follow him down to the furlong pole on, it would be Dancing Brave, to see, could he get past him? I'm not saying he would, but he just was such a magnificent horse, you know, and again, he, like you said, I was 16 at that time. Yeah. I was just getting into racing and I was watching it. And Dancing Brave to me was just that horse that caught my imagination, that I just said, I want to ride a horse like that. Yeah. So I'm a bit like, so I'm just leaning towards Dancing Brave, but of all the great horses I rode against, See the Stars was the best. He was unbeatable, and he was unbeatable.
So do we have a decision?
No.
We want to hear what you've got to say, Richard.
Yeah, you're going to swing it for me.
Well, the thing is, I'm heart and head personally. My own personal thing is for nostalgia. So I'm leaning towards Dancing Brave. But if we go down Simon's route saying who would you prefer, I don't think that it's cut and dry that if these two ever met, as they were on Coral-Eclipse Day in 86 and 2009, that Dancing Brave would definitely get by. Or what if See the Stars... Mick Cannan is adamant that we don't give See the Stars enough credit for the speed he had, because he made things look easy, and then when he had to fight, Simon's description of workman-like, you can understand it, because he looks like he's only doing enough. It's the hardest decision of them all, to decide between these two. It's a lot harder to decide between these two, because there's so much to admire in both of them. I might just sway with nostalgia, because it's ultimately, a lot of people have chosen these 10 horses, maybe because they had a winning bet on it, but also it could be because how that performance made them feel on the day. It's left a memory for years. And obviously with Dancing Brave, we're talking about a memory that has lasted 40 years almost.
Absolutely. Just one thing, Rishi, if you choose See the Stars, then it'll be for Johnny to decide the winner. Because I'm with Dancing Brave.
I still go back to
And
Jim.
it might be helpful to put the blame on him.
I still go back to Jim McGrath, what he says.
Perfection in
Perfection
equine
in
form.
equine form.
Yeah,
Who, See the Stars?
See the Stars.
But I bet you he was even more complimentary about Dancing Brave back in the day.
So I know I'm leaning to it. I think that's a good point, Simon. That's a good point. So one vote for Dancing Brave, one vote for this. So I can't split them, but I can see why it's easily given to See the Stars.
Give him a
So
headache.
Johnny, you were very good at making decisions. You very, very rarely got them wrong at the highest level. You're an elite sportsman. You still are an elite sportsman. The two of you are still competing, right? This is what you made your reputation on, making the right call, the right decision. Here we go. Dancing Brave against See the Stars. One vote for Dancing Brave, one vote for See the Stars. Johnny Murtagh makes the final decision for the ultimate Coral-Eclipse winner.
I'm getting like Simon now. When you look at the Lamy, I'm getting like Simon now. John Ox. I was 16. I walked into John Ox's yard. I never rode a horse in my life. He took me under his wing.
Sentiment now.
Yes.
Sentiment's been brought into it.
Sentiment
Lovely.
is getting brought into it. One of the greatest trainers I've ever with. What he did with that horse was unbelievable. But not with that horse. He's done it with numerous of horses.
I agree.
6 Group 1s in one day.
True.
Ah, Rishi, this is tough because 16-year-old, that's the horse that got my pulses going.
Dancing Brave. So you.
See the Stars was the greatest opponent I ever had over my career. The greatest opponent. You know, you talk about your great opponents.
Yeah.
He was the greatest.
Your nemesis. He was your nemesis.
We never could beat him. We never got it right.
Okay. Johnny, you've got to make a decision. Simon and I have decided by leaving it up to you.
I'm going to go with Dancing Brave.
Well,
We have to accept that decision.
yes.
I'm going to go
absolutely.
with Dancing Brave for igniting something in me that has driven me through my career.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Rishi's disappointed
No, this,
with the outcome. But he does belong in the top spot. He really does. That turn of foot was just something else.
again, happy to concede in this particular
But-
point.
Johnny, if you could ride one of them in the Eclipse, who would you ride? Is it Dancing Brave?
Rishi's put a good point forward. Like he said it. If it came to the crunch, would See the Stars have more? Like we're saying, Dancing Brave would quicken by him, but could he have more? Do you know what? I've changed my mind.
I knew you would.
I'm going to go with See the Stars. I'm going to go with See the
Okay.
Stars, and it is on the day, Coral-Eclipse day.
Mile and a quarter, good ground at Sandown,
On that day,
proper pace.
You want
no
to ride See the
excuses.
Stars?
yes,
You're going to
on
ride
that
See
day.
the Stars.
I'm going to ride See the Stars on that day.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you how to ride them.
Well,
I'd
Rishi's
sit
riding
third.
Dancing Brave.
I'd sit third, 2 pacemakers. I'd get him to the 2 marker. I'd be well organised when I get to the 2 marker because I know he's coming.
Yeah.
But I would, and
Come and get you.
come and get me. And I'd have the rail like Canaan had.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
We'd be hunting you down, Johnny.
And I just feel there was a little bit more under the bonnet. And I'm going back to what Mick Canaan said. The greatest he's ever ridden.
Simon?
I think it's very tight between both of them. Obviously, these are two world-class champions. If Johnny's riding See the Stars and I'm riding Dancing Brave,
I'm going to ride Pilsudski.
and you're on Pilsudski, 100 yards out, Johnny's going to be looking around saying, please don't run me down now. And I would take him.
On Dancing Brave.
On Dancing
Because you think Dancing Brave had a superior turn of foot.
I think he was
All the evidence
I think he
says
was.
that.
I think he was a better racehorse. I think when he won the Arc de Triomphe, we've never seen an Arc winner like that against that quality of field.
Yeah.
When he won the Eclipse, he showed that magnificent change of pace at the critical time. He won the Guineas. I know See the Stars did. I think he was a better horse.
But on that day, Coral-Eclipse day, we're going for the Coral-Eclipse
Correct.
day. And
Correct.
that's what has swayed me. I've no doubts Dancing Brave, mile and a half, great turn of foot. But I'm talking about on that day, riding See the Stars. I'm sticking with him.
Okay.
Final answer.
I agree. I tell you what really sways me with that is what you've said throughout this whole conversation. From the moment we started, you've talked about the type of race that the Coral-Eclipse is, the challenge of riding at Sandown, the fact that you can't let them get too far away from you. So in my mind, if you were on Dancing Brave, you couldn't allow See the Stars too much leeway. You'd have to get to him early enough. And of course, if you get to him early enough, then will you definitely get by him? Because he's got a chance to respond. And in every race in that season, he responded as generously as Mick Cannan wanted. And each time he came out on top. So with all the elements involved in the discussion, and Simon, you also mentioned at the very start, legacy. Both horses have left a legacy of different kinds in the sport. We've got the right top two.
Yeah.
And it's understandable why we are settling
Well,
on...
yes, I'll agree to disagree. But anyway, I accept See the Stars as the champion Coral-Eclipse winner in the last 50 years. I do accept that, even though I fancy Dancing Brave to beat him.
Okay. But this is it. The ultimate Coral-Eclipse winner is See the Stars. Let me ask you one last question. What a race this would be if all 10 lined up against each other. And Simon, it's okay. We know that you would choose Delano.
Well, I'd fancy him to finish better than 6 anyway. That's for sure.
My goodness, can you imagine if we had to do that then?
I'd put him in my trifecta. He'd be in a trifecta.
Wow. Okay. Happy?
Brilliant horse.
Brilliant.
So that is our top 10 Coral-Eclipse winners of the past 50 years, as chosen by the Coral Racing Club members, but now put into an order that Simon Crisford, Johnny Murtagh and myself believe is the correct one, but we understand that you may have a very different view. So let us know what that view is, and who knows, this 5th of July, Saturday, this year, the 2025 renewal of the Coral-Eclipse Stakes might throw up another horse that would go in this mix in years to come.